inside professional golf, and the explosion is still tearing through locker rooms, sponsorship deals, and player careers right now. This wasn't a quiet rule adjustment or a minor tweak to qualification standards. This was a complete structural rewrite of how players earn their way into the most sacred tournament in the sport. And the fallout is already brutal. Fall tournaments are hemorrhaging sponsors, agents are frantically rewriting entire season schedules, and a handful of international tournaments that most American fans have never even heard of just became more powerful than almost every PGA Tour event. What did Augusta actually change? Why did they pull the trigger now after moving at glacial speed for nearly a century? And who's about to lose everything because of this decision? Let's be clear about something first. Augusta National doesn't do this. They don't make bold moves. They don't chase trends or bow to outside pressure. This is the same club that waited until 1990 to admit its first black member and didn't allow women until 2012. When Augusta finally moves, it's not because they want to. It's because something massive behind the scenes is forcing their hand. And this 2026 Masters announcement isn't just significant. It's a complete demolition of the old order. And the ripple effects are already destroying careers and reshaping the entire professional landscape. For most of modern golf history, the path to Augusta has been controlled by a careful balance of world rankings, PGA Tour victories, major championships, and a small number of international exemptions. It wasn't perfect, but it created a predictable ladder that everyone understood. Players knew where to go, which events mattered, and how to build their way toward a Masters invitation. Tours knew which tournaments carried weight, sponsors knew where the spotlight would be. But now that entire ladder has been flipped completely upside down, and the chaos is just beginning. Starting in 2026, Augusta will grant automatic Masters invitations to the winners of 6 national opens that most casual golf fans couldn't even name. The Scottish Open, Spanish Open, Japan Open, Hong Kong Open, Australian Open, and South African Open. These tournaments, once viewed by many American fans as regional or secondary events, have now been elevated to the most powerful status in professional golf. One win in any of them is now worth more than an entire season of grinding through mid-tier PGA Tour events. Let that sink in for a second. A single week in Japan or South Africa can be more valuable than 6 months of American tournament golf. This shift changes absolutely everything about professional golf's economic and competitive structure. In the old system, players could slowly build their way into the Masters through points, rankings, and steady results over time. Now, one explosive week overseas can launch a career straight into Augusta. Agents are rewriting travel plans completely. Coaches are adjusting training cycles to peak for international events instead of American fall tournaments. Players who once spent their autumn chasing PGA Tour points are now booking flights to Tokyo, Sydney, and Johannesburg. The fallout was immediate and devastating for certain parts of the golf ecosystem. Fall tournaments in the United States, which once used Masters qualifying points as their biggest marketing weapon, suddenly lost their entire leverage overnight. According to industry insiders, ticket pre-sales for several fall events dropped by double digits within weeks of Augusta's announcement. One tournament reportedly lost a major sponsor entirely, and negotiations for others have stalled completely as the Masters link disappeared from marketing materials. Television partners began questioning whether late-season American events still deserved prime coverage slots or premium broadcast fees. And quietly, behind closed doors, PGA Tour executives realized something deeply uncomfortable. Augusta had just reduced their control over who gets access to golf's biggest stage. For decades, the PGA Tour has been the gatekeeper of golf's most valuable opportunities. Rankings, point systems, and schedules were all designed to funnel players toward American events and keep the tour at the center of professional golf's universe. But Augusta doesn't answer to the PGA Tour. It never has. And with this move, the club has made it brutally clear that it intends to decide its own future, even if that future completely disrupts the entire industry. Players felt the shift immediately too. Veterans who built careers by dominating fall events now face a harsh new reality. Those wins no longer carry the same weight or open the same doors. Meanwhile, younger international players have never seen a clearer or more dramatic path to superstardom. For someone like Japan's rising stars or emerging talents in South Africa and Spain, this change is absolutely life-altering. Under the old system, cracking the Masters field required elite world rankings that took years to build or miracle runs on the PGA Tour that demanded moving to America. Now, one National Open victory on home soil can turn a regional hero into a global name overnight. Fans immediately picked sides, and social media absolutely erupted with debates that got heated fast. Some praised Augusta for finally acknowledging that golf is a global sport, not just an American one dominated by one tour. Others accused the club of abandoning the players and tournaments that carried the Masters through lean years and built its prestige. Even Rory McIlroy weighed in publicly, saying that the world's best should have to prove themselves everywhere, not just on one tour. His comment was seen as both support for Augusta's decision and a warning, because everyone in the industry understands what's really being challenged here: power and control over professional golf's future. By creating direct qualification routes through international opens, Augusta has effectively told the entire golf world that the road to the green jacket no longer runs exclusively through one country or one tour. That's a seismic shift in how professional golf operates at its highest levels. International tournaments are already seeing massive surges in sponsor interest and media attention. Sponsors who once focused only on US exposure are now pouring money into events in Europe, Asia, and Australia. Broadcasters are racing to lock in broadcast rights to national opens that suddenly carry Masters-level importance and viewer interest. What makes this shift even more dramatic and destabilizing is how quietly and suddenly it happened. There was no long build-up, no gradual testing phase, no pilot program, just a single announcement that instantly restructured the professional landscape and made years of career planning obsolete overnight. Players who had carefully mapped out their entire careers suddenly found those maps completely useless. A tournament in Spain now matters more than 3 in Florida. A win in Japan can be worth more than 6 months of grinding on American soil. That's the brutal new reality. Even caddies and coaches are being massively affected by this change. Travel schedules have become absolutely brutal, with teams hopping between continents constantly, adjusting to different climates, grasses, time zones, and competitive fields. Training regimens are being completely rewritten to peak for international opens instead of domestic fall events. One prominent coach described it as exhausting but totally unavoidable, saying you go where the doors to Augusta are open, period. And fans are feeling the shift too, in ways they might not even fully realize yet. Highlight reels from overseas tournaments are suddenly dominating social media feeds and golf content. Forums are buzzing with intense debates about which national open produces the toughest competition and most dramatic finishes. Golf, which once felt geographically narrow and American-centric, now feels vast and truly global again. For the first time in years, the road to the Masters is unpredictable, chaotic, and genuinely thrilling because nobody knows where the next breakout star will emerge. Meanwhile, the PGA Tour is left scrambling to protect its territory and relevance. Reports suggest quiet, tense meetings between tour officials and Augusta representatives have already taken place. Publicly, everything remains polite and professional. Privately, everyone involved knows exactly what's at stake: control over the sport's most valuable asset, access to the Masters. If players no longer need to rely primarily on the PGA Tour to reach Augusta, the entire balance of power in professional golf shifts dramatically and possibly permanently. This is why Augusta's move is being described by some insiders as potentially the most important decision in modern golf history, not because of who benefits today or next year, but because of what it means for the sport's structure over the next decade. A young golfer in South Africa now has the same legitimate shot at Augusta as a rising star in California. A breakout week in Spain can genuinely change a life